Welcome to Smash the Ceiling, a webinar on peer work. This quarterly webinar will go over peer work, what it is, its challenges, the value it brings to an organization, and also have first-hand accounts from peer workers. Thanks for joining us.
That's where I really connect, because I find these people are real and they have the experiences I have. And if I can get through it and you know, my resilience shows, and maybe it gives them some hope. You know, everyone needs hope. You can't get through life without hope. Yeah.
During this presentation, we're going to give a brief history on St. Stephen's commitment to peers and peer work, as well as basic information about peers and who peers are. We'll define different types of roles benefiting from lived experience, as well as discuss how peer opportunities complement existing programming. And of course, as you've already seen, hear firsthand experiences from people already working in peer positions.
I found out about peer work through my community support worker from the ASH program from Loft Services, and they just said there was this peer program happening, and but it was just a peer training program, and then from that there was a possibility that you could do a small amount of hours of work, and so I applied and I got it. Okay, from my experience here, I feel like I've been taught that peer work is meeting people exactly where they're at and supporting people without having any personal goals for them. I think that's what peer work is.
I was in the hospital for detoxing from GHB, and I have a worker with Loft Services. It was amazing. She's just an incredible woman. She stuck with me through a lot of stuff, and she suggested I fill out an application for it. I didn't even have an idea of what it was, to be honest with you. I just knew that I needed to be doing something to be sober again, so yeah, it was the best thing I could have done. It's been great. It's been a really good experience. It's helped me get back on my feet, have some direction and something to look forward to. And it gives relevance to all of my experience. That's the most important thing, is all of that stuff in the past, you know, stuff that some of it I would wish to forget about, but I can't. I can use that to help other people. It's powerful. It's really powerful.
Yeah. I found out through my TCAP worker. I guess she saw me at my absolute worst. Saw me before that. I was in a couple of shelters and safe bed places, and I guess she saw me evolve over a fairly lengthy period of time, and she thought I would be ideal for peer position. But as we talked about it, I think peer work is kind of mentoring, helping others, using your skills, your knowledge, your wisdom. Trying to steer people in the right direction, help, and you know, live in an altruistic way. You know, give from the heart without any expectation from anything else. And to me, it's a vocation. It's not a job. I've had jobs, and it's a 9-to-5 grind, and that's basically it. I need it as much as the people I do mentor or offer support to, because it helps me in my sobriety, and it helps me evolve into a better person, you know, from giving from the heart.
St. Stephen's Community House is a community-based nonprofit organization with locations in Toronto and North York, serving over 20,000 people annually across the city. The peer worker program has developed over 15 years and presently has over 122 peer positions. The roles in the peer worker program cross a variety of services, including newcomer, perinatal, youth, employment, drop-in and harm reduction, etc. There are 4 current projects and programs at St. Stephen's Community House regarding peer work. The Learning by Doing Peer project actually recently wrapped up, culminating in a final report which analyzed St. Stephen's history of peer training, programming, and employment opportunities. It made recommendations for the future on how to create and implement peer training programs, and the reports from this project will have long-lasting impacts on the future of peer training and employment at St. Stephen's. The Peer Training and Development Program is a multi-week training initiative which provides both peer training and employment opportunities for individuals who are living in transitional or supportive housing. The Peer Pathways Project is a brand new initiative and complements the previously mentioned programs. Through this project, participants receive 2 weeks of pre-employment training as well as a supported employment experience. Lastly, but not least, the Member Advocacy Committee is made up of people participating in St. Stephen's programs who come together to discuss issues impacting the community as well as take part in initiatives to facilitate change at the grassroots, agency, and governmental levels. To properly discuss peer work, we would be remiss if we did not give context to what or who a peer worker is in the realm of community and medical services. So in this area, a peer is someone living with intersecting barriers to acquiring skills or knowledge in support of their individual goals in the community, in their education, or in their employment. They also have personal lived experience or experiential authority in an area relevant to the participants taking part in the organization's programming or services. The meaning of this term will change slightly depending on the services provided and the demographics of the participants taking part in those services offered. Having lived experience is important because it allows the person in the peer position to have at least a partial shared identity with the participants. For example, race, culture, ethnicity, newcomer status, disability, age, sexual identity, or some other aspect of the identity. Becoming a peer is a dual process of identifying and being accepted by others as a part of a group with shared and common experience at the heart of peer relationships and peer work. What kind of roles are there for peer workers? There are a range of roles, and they're flexible to fit a multitude of organizational, program, social, and participant needs and situations. It's considered an opportunity where lived experience is considered to be a valuable asset to the position. Formality. There's a spectrum of formality which peer worker positions can have. Sometimes the roles are so informal they just happen organically among the participants and aren't initiated by the organization. But there are also walk-in positions, as well as mutual and reciprocal relationships where the peer worker and the participant mutually support each other. This can be seen in support groups as well as facilitation roles that could happen. There are formalized roles that are often in community services and community service settings, as well as clinical and community clinical roles as well, such as that might be in a harm reduction center. In addition, there are institutional or clinical institutional roles, which are often in hospitals, educational institutions, and the justice system. While there are many positions which would benefit from lived experience, the most common role that is seen is the peer support worker. The role provides emotional and social support to others who share a common experience. It has a holistic approach with a focus on recovery and social inclusion. It has varied duties that can be tailored to the person in the role, the organization, and the program, as well as the participants, and is utilized in a range of settings, both formal and informal, and can have a range of internal support to fit the person in the role as well as the participants and program needs. The duties for peer support worker positions can vary drastically from organization to organization or program to program. However, there are some common trends that can be seen, including connecting service users to resources, experiential sharing, community building activities such as generating social events and recruiting people to attend social events, facilitation of groups, relationship building, mentoring, self-esteem building, some administrative duties as well, and advocacy and educational outreach.
There's a lot of roles for peer workers. There's like on the street, in the community outreach, like person-to-person engagement. There's supporting people to appointments, things that look like case management but aren't case management, but those type of things. Like I have a community support worker. They meet me for like doctor's appointments or like any kind of appointment I need to go to that I might be stressed out about, or there's I mean, this doesn't happen to me but really anymore, but in the beginning, like appointments that I might be at a risk of not going to because of fear, anxiety, so peer support, people doing that. Sometimes it's just like a social thing, social engagement. We go and we meet people in the community, we might take them for coffee. To where I work at a house that's an alcohol management program, and I'm there. Like, it's strange because when I started there, I was like so uncomfortable going there because it was not really defined what I was supposed to do. But then I realized that what I was supposed to do is like build a relationship with the residents that live there, and that's such a like emotional, spiritual, mental thing that you really have to lean into it, and it was quite a challenge. But now I just go to the house. There's people that live there, people that have come from a history of like homelessness and drinking non-beverage alcohol. They come to this house, they drink beverage alcohol, they get served like a certain amount every hour, and so I go there and I do activities with them. I just go and spend time with each person. If there's things they want to do, I'll do that with them. Shopping, sometimes they want to bake something, sometimes they just want to complain about everything or just tell me so many stories. You know, there's a lot of listening involved in peer work. I don't know, there's lots of, a big part of what I've done as a peer is facilitation. So I facilitate meetings, I facilitated peer training. There's lots of things. There's like work in hospitals, harm reduction clinic.
I guess anything that has to do with life skills, learning, as far as domestic roles, as far as job roles, support anywhere that somebody can learn, whether it be computers, whether it be cooking, whether it be housework. I know a lot of guys who've lived on the street. You know, working on a washing machine is often difficult. Sometimes there's language barriers. You can't read, you can't write. Just helping people in the areas where they feel inadequate or deficient, or it just can apply to anything, absolutely anything. So.
Is it worth it? Having lived experience as a qualifying aspect of a role can translate into inclusion within folds of power and allow individuals who may be experiencing disenfranchisement within multiple other aspects of their lives to gain influence in this area. And by increasing diversity, an organization can gain valuable perspectives and information on their services and them as a service provider. Incorporating workers with lived experience has become a best practice and standard among Western community and health services. We see this practice very commonly in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Australia. In addition, peer work is incorporated in the 6 strategic directions of Canada's mental health strategy. Provide access to the right combination of services, treatments, and supports when and where people need them. Peer work complements, enriches, and assists personnel in community organizations. Peer roles have an implication of symbolism and provide someone to look up to for participants. And for staff members, it gives them an opportunity to see recovery in action. Lastly, it connects uniquely with program participants and promotes positive emotional responses of hope, empowerment, optimism, and camaraderie. We'd like to conclude the slide component of this presentation with a quote from the Mental Health Commission of Canada, Changing Directions, Changing Lives, the Mental Health Strategy for Canada. Peer support works because people who have experience with mental health problems and illnesses can offer support, encouragement, and hope to each other when facing similar situations. Peer support can be offered wherever people need it, at peer-run organizations, workplaces, schools, or healthcare settings.
I went to college in Texas, so I have an associate's degree in science and arts. I went to study nursing, And I was afforded an opportunity in Australia, and I didn't do my clinicals, so I didn't finish that, but I did get associates, and I got a job in Australia working in mental health with in forensics, schizophrenics, and it was the most amazing job I ever had. Incredible. Yeah. So I was there for 2 years in Australia. Yeah, I've seen the whole spectrum of behaviors, and it's all about compassion, having compassion for people, and we're just all people, no matter what. You can't go to school and learn these things and really understand it, I don't think, fully. But having someone there, peers, to help break that wall, or that would be there. It also, I think, makes I know for me, makes me feel more comfortable in an environment to have people who are, and to be examples that you're doing better, and it's good to have peers out there who are doing okay, and because it can be pretty rough out there. It's tough. We need each other. We need to be a community and support each other, lift each other up. Peers also have a lot of knowledge that people don't have. They have the pulse of what's going on out there. It's good. It's a good thing. It helps save lives as well. Definitely saves lives. I see nothing but good things in it. It's us helping each other, and it's important. It's important. I know personally, I prefer to have someone who has lived experience, like in recovery. I've been to rehab, and I connect more with someone who's had the lived experience for sure. They know where I'm coming from. They get me. I get them. It's just, yeah.
I know that I've been supported by people without lived experience, and it's been some of the most beneficial support I've received. But I also know I'm not all people are alike. Everybody's not the same, and it's possible that there are some people who just are in a position because of life experience, trauma, whatever. They're not in a position to receive support from people who aren't peers in the same way. And there definitely would be differences in the quality of understanding. Although there are people in this world that were built for this kind of work who don't have lived experience, and it's just in their nature, and they can deliver it just as well as a peer. But to the people you're supporting, I would say that sometimes they want someone, you could be sort of overwhelmed with being in the system and sick and tired of being in a cycle of care, and it can be just like a shift that's necessary to create more stability, because they'd be more receptive to the support.
A hospital, the guy's struggling, going in and seeing him in the same shoes you were in, you can really empathize with what they're going through, and you want to help, because it sure didn't like being in the shoes I was in. Back then, it was a scary experience, and when you're coming out of your addiction, you've alienated everyone, your friends, your family. What support do you have? You have nobody. So when you have somebody who can really relate to what you're going through and have them watching your back is important, I guess. So, and I felt when I was in hospital, sure, I had a few people come in, you need supportive housing and that sort of thing, but it wasn't very memorable. It was a 5-minute interaction, and that was it. So nobody to really talk to. My peer at the hospital was a security guard, because I was coded I was formed, so I had to have 72 hours supervision, and he was my peer. He was the person I wanted to talk to and share my life and my experience and what I was going through. It was nice to unload a little bit. nursing staff, they're too busy. Doctors, you know, they're there for one thing, is to, you know, be a doctor. So what else have you got? So any organization that, you know, people, you can help people in, whether it be like St. Stephen's or a drop-in center, or even a place like Downsview Dells, to stop in and talk to the guys, and not force the big book down their throat or anything like that. Just talk to them as a person and see where they're coming from. And just, I don't know, not necessarily offer advice, but guide them. You know, if they ask for advice, fine, you give it to them, but I'm not there to tell people how to run their lives. I'm just trying to steer them in the right direction. So.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this presentation, and if you'd like to connect, feel free to tweet at us at Peer Pathways TO, or reach out via Instagram at Peer Pathways TO as well. Additionally, we can also be reached by email or phone, and if you'd like to connect, please reach out to Beth Kesselman, the Employer Engagement Specialist for the Peer Pathways program.